Today we are going to repot some roses that we bought last week, Saturday, from a local garden center in DeBary, Florida. And so I want to show you the process of what you do. And I am inside my home because it's 90-something degrees here in Florida and I cannot take the heat at all. But my husband, who is hardy, can take the heat, is out there. He's got a fan on. He's getting that set up. And so what we did is the wheelbarrow had rocks we had gotten, broken up concrete actually, block or something. So here's the buckets, the size of the containers that we're going to pot them in. So you see that. Okay, so we put about an inch or so in the bottom of the container. And now we have this potting mix that we bought that we're going to also be putting in there. So I'm going to be instructing him. So we'll be talking back and forth. So you're gonna get to see this because he is not a gardener, but I'm a gardener. So I'm going to instruct him from the inside of my home and with the air conditioning. All right. So you can see the broken pieces of concrete in the bottom, which is what I call rocks. I don't know which it has rocks in it. Okay, so then this potting mix, which this bag cost us $18, and it's, I think it was 28 cubits. So this might be quite entertaining, so we'll see how it goes. That's good. Perfect amount. So you want to start by filling it about halfway with your soil because you want to leave room to be able to get your roses in there. So now, after he fills up the second one, then we'll get the rose out of the pots. And as you can see, it has the perlite in there, so it's a very nice mixture. It will help retain water. I was going to add peat moss, but it wasn't necessary. Okay, very good. Now he will start with the two roses. One is a tea rose. It was so beautiful last weekend. I don't know what happened. I think they put some rose, what do you call that, bud stuff on it. You know how they make them bloom all of a sudden? And because after a week, and we had them in our greenhouse, which is screened in and just has a very clear plastic pieces on top. So it's sun, gets complete sun, about, I don't know, 6 hours a day sun. This one is doing better. It does have a few spots on it, which you know how roses, if you know anything about roses, they get the leaves, get those spots on them, and you can use some kind of a copper spray thing. I forget the name of it exactly, but it's some kind of a copper-based thing. And to prevent that, but when your roses grow outdoors. You can't prevent the rain. And here in Florida, they're always like, oh, don't water them from direct top. And I said, lady, they're they're outside in the direct sun. How are you going to prevent that? Well, then you got to get the copper stuff. Anyway, so I have roses growing all over my yard. They're still alive and thriving. So this particular brand, I can't see the tag. I'll get you the tag and I'll post that in the information below. But isn't it a gorgeous rose? I mean, this one looks really good. We picked out a healthy one here. The other one looked really healthy, but it just once he gets it over here close up, you'll be able to see. But isn't this one beautiful? And it has peach colored blooms. I love peach and green. I wish they had a green bloom rose. Oh, that would just be, I'd be just over the moon with a green blossom. Okay, so now he's getting the tea rose. So he's getting that one loosened out of the pot. And then he will put that one in the other pot. And then we're going to work on some other planters today. He made me one. If you look back on, I don't know, did I do a video on that? Huh. I don't think I did. I should have been out there when he was making it. But anyway, he made me a beautiful planter. It's a vertical living wall planter. So he's still loosening it, getting it out of the pot, getting rid of all the dead leaves that fell off. I went out there yesterday and got off all the dead leaves. So what's left is looking healthy. So I just knocked off all the dead leaves, which was like half of what you see on there now. And so I'm going to just deadhead all the rest of the roses off and prune it down so that it will. Okay. And loosen loosen the root ball at the bottom. Gently, just gently. There you go. Gently. Perfect. That's good. Excellent. So you just want to loosen it up. You don't want to actually tear the roots and pull them off. Can you center that a little bit more center it over that way a little bit more. Yeah, needs a little bit more soil. So he's going to pull that one back out, and then he will add a little more soil, and then we'll raise it up a little bit because we don't want it to be too low. The other one might, I think the other one should be good. That's a good amount of soil. So like I said, we bought these at the DeBerry Garden Center. We've purchased from Lowe's, from Home Depot, from Walmart. And I don't remember, I'll have to see, my daughter probably won't remember either, but she purchased 2 roses. I don't think they were the knockout roses from one of the stores around the area several years ago, over 5 years ago. And one is still living. The peach one died. She knows I love peach, so she bought one of those. That one died. But the other one I think is a pink. That one's still living. And then she bought a white climbing rose. It's still living. It's doing excellent. And then the little red rose, I'll have to show you that later. So that's a good height. Okay, so now just fill the rest of the pot. Just a wee bit. So he's going to do the same thing with the other pot now. And if you're new to gardening, this is important to watch this process, because there is a right way and there's a wrong way to go about this. And your soil, you don't need to use organic soil with your flowers. Vegetables, yes. So if you're going to do organic potting soil, then your vegetables need to be heirloom seeds, organic. Don't use the Monsanto. No, we don't need any of that. Okay. So this still has some new buds coming up on it. I see one, looks like just one new one that I can see so far. Has a few spotty, you can see the few yellow spotty ones. I'll have to pull those off. And then this one has a few spotty ones. Okay, now fill it up with the soil, yep. Ah, these are Nelsons. Okay, I can see the tag now. Let me zoom in so you can see that. Now, Nelson roses are in Apopka, Florida. Now, those are supposed to be some of the best roses you can get. A friend of mine in Leesburg just bought, had her whole front yard landscaped with, I think she told me 28 or 29 varieties of rose bushes from the Nelson. And she had the knockout and several other types, and she just bought every color in the rainbow. She loves roses like myself, and so she sent me pictures. It was so beautiful, and she had all of the grass taken out of the yard, and they landscaped it with rock. So no weeds. They put the weed barrier down. Okay, that looks good. We need a little bit more, but I'll have him fill in the top with that. You can fill in the top with peat moss. Put this whole bag in here. He can't hear me as well. Sorry if I had to yell in your ear. Don't add any more soil in that. Just put the rose, yeah, that's perfect like you had it. Once you pour all that soil in, then put peat moss in the top of it. Fill it up with the peat moss.
Did you finish with the video?
No, I'm still videoing you. We're still videoing. I told everybody I'm giving you instructions so they know I'm talking to you back and forth. Perfect. Now, yeah, fill the rest with that bag there. And then whatever's left in the top, we'll do the fertilizer, and then we'll put peat moss on top of that. Now, we did go ahead and purchase the fertilizer from them as well. I usually got the Scott's brand rose fertilizer, but, you know, I want to help my local businesses. Oops. And so we went ahead and purchased everything from them. We bought the soil from them, and the 2 fertilizers as well. One is the azomite, and the other one is, oh, goodness. They're both new to me. Like I said, I was just used to buying the Scott's brand, which is an excellent rose fertilizer. But once he picks up the bag, I'll be able to tell you the name of it because I can't remember the name of it, and it's out of my... oh, Rose Tone. I was able to peek around the corner. So Rose Tone and azomite. And it's expensive, but the thing will last you for decades, and you only need to use a very, very tiny bit. So for this size pot, she told me to put about a half a cup of the Rose Tone and a quarter of a cup of the azomite. And that will last a whole year. So that's how strong that is. Excellent. Perfect. Perfect. Yep, so he's going to pour the rest on the other one now. Whoop. Ah! It's going on the ground. Oh, I don't even think he saw that. Okay, so now we're going to give instructions on putting in the fertilizer. So I will have to open the door again because he's got the music playing, he has a fan on, so it's hard for him to hear me as good. When you're working in 95-degree weather with a heat index over 100, you have to be well armed. So now he's going to get the little measuring cup, which we're just using this pink little planter buckets and this fertilizer, just to give you a heads up, is very, very potent. So that's another thing. I cannot be out there because I'm chemical sensitivity, and so he can handle it. So like I said, it was a quarter cup of the azomite and a half a cup of the Rose Tone, but I'm thinking I might have him go a little less than that on this, and we'll just see how it goes. Let me give him instructions. Now you want to, don't put it up close to the stem. You want to come out here. Yes, not up against the edge. Go about 2 inches from the edge of the pot. Scissors. Okay, let's see if we can come up with some scissors here. Hold on just a second. All right. see my work scissors. There's the pruning shears right there on the corner. Haha. We figured it out. All right, I'm going to step back because I have got to get my water. Oh. I have got to give credit to all of those workers who have to be outside. I don't know how you guys survive. Oh. Whew. And especially in the dry states like Arizona. Oh, San Diego. I hope you enjoy that Spanish music he's listening to. My husband is Spanish, so he loves classical music, but he also loves his certain Spanish. And don't ask me who that is singing, I don't know. Okay. All right. I'm going to put 1/4 inch in the one pot. And then he's going to go all the way around. Now that he's opened the stinky stuff, I can't open the door back up again, so I hope he remembers what I told him. Okay, so he's gonna sprinkle that. Excuse me. Okay. Now do the same in that pot. Then we're going to water it really good, and then we're going to give you an update next weekend, and let's hope and pray that my roses like it and they don't croak on me. My orchids are doing beautiful. You see the yellow and the purple one over there in the corner? Oh, okay, and this one here too. You see that one there? I love my orchids. And then I got the cactus and the bamboo, and then some succulents down there, and another cactus. 2 cactuses in that pot, which now that they're in there, I don't know how. We'd have to break the glass to get them out. And then I have another little succulent in the bottom of that. And then over here, oh, I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it. And then there's more orchids up there. There's the greenhouse. Shed, but there's the greenhouse. You can check back on my videos on that one. There's my little windmill. I love that windmill. There's my geraniums. My variegated vines over there in the corner. My other succulents, more orchids, and then my rice, Christmas cactus. I have a rice cactus over in the corner. That's about 25 years old. Okay, now let's come back in. Okay, so now he's putting the azomite in the other pot. Okay, we're gonna have to put some. See, now this one here he did perfect. This one here he's got the pot. The root ball is exposed. I want him to put some peat moss. Now we go to use the rose tone into the others. About 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 cup. Yeah, 1/2 cup I think is too much. But Well, I've already had 4 cups of water, my electrolyte water this morning, and now I'm working on this 1.5 cups. And I usually drink about 6 a day, but that was just because I went out into my greenhouse this morning to water all the lettuce and different ones, keep a check on them. And I had my mask on, cotton mask, because it's so humid, it affects my asthma. That's another tip for all you asthma people. If you wear a cotton mask, and that's 2 layers, there's no filter, it does help with my breathing. I also use a cotton mask that is has a coconut charcoal filter, and I buy that online from a company. And then the outside part is washable. But that's just for going out in public, when I was going out in public for more of chemical reasons. And I avoid chemical areas especially, but if I like having to run in somebody's wearing heavy cologne or perfume or smells like cigarette smoke, then it doesn't bother my asthma nearly, and I can hold it tight to my face when I am detecting an odor. So, but anyway, this is not about masks, this is about gardening, but I just wanted to throw that in there because if you do have asthma and you find that being outside, because all the pollen and things like that, and then it bothers your asthma, just throw on a thin cotton face mask. And when you're in your yard, it's okay. I have found that it's okay to it can have gaps. In other words, don't wear a mask outside in your own yard if there's nobody else around that's tight to your face, because you don't want to be breathing in your own air. You want that CO2 to escape. And if you have asthma, especially, it is not good. My doctor told me that as well. He's like, I don't like the masks because you're breathing in your own CO2. But I've been wearing one for 15 years, and now when I did have my blood work done, so if you go to the doctor regularly and get blood work done, ask them to check your CO2 level. And mine was just a wee bit indicated that I had a little bit, I guess, I don't even know. You're obviously, there's a normal range, so that must mean that it's detecting that you do have some. So I'm assuming that means you can't prevent it. So, your lungs, especially if you have asthma, you have trapped air in there. So that trapped air must hold on to some of the CO2. But I haven't had that tested in a long time to check to see what it is. But anyway, I'm good. I know I don't have a problem. Okay, so now, as you can see, he's putting in the rose tone fertilizer. And then we're going to water that really well, and then we're going to put peat moss on top of that to hold in the water it first. Water first. Give it all water first. Water. Water. Water.
Right now?
Yes, first. And I just happened to have a gallon handy for him, so he didn't have to get up and go get the hose. Isn't that nice of me? Yes. And don't ask me why the flies are now flocking around that stuff. Huh. I wonder if it's made out of some kind of animal. Okay, the rose tone is organic, for organic gardening. All natural, long-lasting, ideal for roses and others. That's what it says on the bag. I'm just looking at the front of it now. All right, let me zoom in on that so you can see that as well. See, organic, rose tone, rose and flower food. And then down here is where I was reading all the other stuff. Okay. Okay, so watering that really good. Yep, that is really interesting. I did not see any flies until he put that fertilizer. Huh. I can see fertilizer over here on this side. Pull it around under here. You want to wet that fertilizer all down.
All day?
All the fertilizer. So always make sure once you put this fertilizer on, you want to wet the fertilizer. You don't want to keep it dry. You want to wet it down, which allows it to break down and get down to the roots like it's supposed to. But isn't that interesting? Huh. I'm going to have to look that up and see what's in there. I'll let him go ahead and fill it up with peat moss. Fill it up with the peat moss first, and then water, because your peat moss obtains moisture, so that will help keep the moisture in there. So this is how, if you are also affected by the heat and you have a loving spouse that isn't, that will plant and repot for you, then you can work as a team together like we do and plant and pot your garden. My daughter found a Florida orchid one day at one of the nurseries, and I want to get that again. It doesn't look like your tropical orchids, but it has beautiful flowers. So one year that we actually did get some cold weather, it affected them. So, and then a neighbor who comes over and helps weeds the flower beds because he knows I can't get out there and my husband works, so he's retired, so he lovingly, kindly gets out there and weeds, but he didn't know that that was my Florida orchid, so I think one day he accidentally just snatched it out of the ground, so I'm going to have to put it in a pot next time so that he knows, and then I'm just going to let him know what it is. And don't, I mean, it doesn't look like weeds at all, so I don't know why in the world he didn't realize it was a plant. Should have asked me, but anyway. You know how we plant people are very touchy about our plants. And this tea rose, it was a gift for our 32nd wedding anniversary, and then the other rose as well. Because, let me see here now. I'm going to tell Tattletale. And I won't mention any names, but the initials are RJ. I had there was a beautiful pink tea rose that was growing here on the property when we bought the house, and back in 1990. And it was right here to the left outside the sliding door in the flower bed. And it was, granted, okay, so now here's the edge of the door, okay, and then the house. And so you have about 2 foot, I would say, from the edge of the sliding door to the edge of the patio. So that rose was big to grow, and it was right here in the opening of the sliding door. So I kept pruning it back, you know. So one day, because he's not a plant lover, I went somewhere, and my uncle was living with us at the time, and I came home, and my uncle's deaf, and he told me right away in sign language, don't get upset, don't get upset. And I go, what did he do? And so I came to the backyard, and he had pruned that rose bush down to about 10 inches, 6 inches maybe, to the ground. Can you believe it? Oh. So I said he owed me back. So I said, I'm not putting this one in the ground. Don't worry about that. I will definitely not allow him to do that to my plants ever again. But this one went into a pot. Of course, he was very sorry about that, but anyway. So I'm hoping that this is going to be beautiful. The blooms were absolutely gorgeous last week. It's just amazing in a week's time what can happen to a plant. So that's what really is puzzling to me. What did they do to it to make it look so beautiful? And then in a week, I mean, the poor little thing just is like, like I told you, 50% of the leaves all turned yellow, fell off, and the buds, I just don't know. So I'm hoping that this fertilizer will revive it. And I'm going to look up on how much water it needs as well. So I think we're going to give it a good watering today. And I'm hoping, because we're getting it in the ground, that in these pots, that it will revive it, and then that'll be what it needs. Because I bought a purslane. I've always wanted a purslane, and it's beautiful yellow blossoms, and so it likes a lot of sun and a lot of water. It's in the greenhouse right now, so I'm going to look up the care on that and see, can it go in the ground? Should I put it in the ground? We have a cute little decorative rustic fence that I had him put in the backyard. And my backyard is a certified wildlife habitat through the Wildlife Federation .org website, which anyone can do. Just giving a little plug for them. And so you see there's the fence. I'll just give you a little tour while he's working on adding the peat moss. So you see the little rustic fence out there. And then I have squirrel. Okay, the picnic table became a bird feeder and squirrel platform. And then behind it, way out there, okay, you can see one right here in this corner here, a platform, and then where the orchids are right there behind that, you can't see it, on another top of the post. And then we have a little saucer there. And then the bird bath is down, which you can't see that right now either. But you can see it in other videos. If you go back and watch those, you'll see the whole tour. And we got some bamboo. I'm so excited about that. And he planted that in the ground. And I'm hoping it will come back. I mean, it's all, looking dead now. So I'm thinking I'm going to have him prune it. We'll prune off all the dead, and then water it really good every day and see if it will come back. I'm hoping it will. And I don't remember if he got those by the roots. I told him, because it was a customer he works for, and said he could have it. So I told him to get the roots. So I don't know if he did or not. Yay! Okay, so they're both potted. So now we're going to water them really, really good, and then see. Oh, there is a second bloom on this one. Ah, I'm so excited. And we'll see how they do now that we've gotten them fertilized and in their new little homes. So thank you so much for hanging out here with me and watching and learning. And if you have ever bought Nelson roses or tea roses and you love those as well, give me leave a comment telling me what is your favorite rose. And please subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs